Happy Halloween everyone, and to celebrate the end of this spooky month, let me share with you some of the MLP moments that scared me as a kid, from the least scary to the one that scared me the most. But before we begin, something that I need to clarify is that all of these are my opinion, so if there's a moment that you don't find particularly scary, that's okay. And I invite anyone to share their scary MLP moments in the comments. But with that out of the way, let's begin with...
Imbeciles! You ruined everything!
Let's begin with the mean 6 deaths, and I know that a lot of people put this moment as one of the creepiest, but not me. Sure, out of place and off-putting, absolutely, but it didn't scare me that much when I saw it, and part of the reason why is because at this point in my life things just stopped making me scared, and I honestly couldn't tell you of why. But still, I can totally understand why this moment scares some people, especially the uncensored version.
Stay away! They're making you sick! You don't want these!
But we do. We want cookies.
Yeah, I was scared of 28 pranks later. Kinda. Don't get me wrong, this episode has some pretty off-putting and scary moments, like for example the very ominous tease of the infected, where Rainbow checks one of the houses in Ponyville where we see that no one is inside, but then we see someone walking in the background. Or the kitchen scene in Sugarflake Corner where we have a long and quiet scene building up to the reveal of the infected. And wow, if the infected were really creepy with their pale skin, dead eyes and colorful mouths screaming for cookies. But what I found especially creepy about this episode was the concept. And I know it's weird to say that, but seriously, Rainbow giving everyone in Ponyville cookies that been tampered with just to realize that she accidentally turned everyone that she loved into cookie-eating zombies is a concept that was very dark. And was made darker thanks to the manga, where we saw a universe where the prank cookies actually infected all of Equestria and no one survived, making this concept a little bit more scary than we initially thought. Castlemania is a boring episode, but despite that, it's an episode that scared me beyond belief, mainly thanks to the atmosphere. The castle of the two sisters had a very eerie and maze-like feel, which, sure, it's a creepy abandoned castle, it's supposed to feel like that. But this gave you a very uncomfortable feeling, and one that made you feel like you were being watched by someone in the castle. Which brings me to the moment that scared me, the mysterious figure. This figure didn't do much of anything in the episode and basically just followed our main characters throughout the castle. But the reason why it scared me was because of something that I lived in my childhood. In my grandmother's house, where I experienced a lot of weird and creepy moments, and the ones that I remember being hearing someone either walking or running down the halls at night, having the sensation of someone watching me, doors being slammed or slide open at random moments in the day, and so much more. But the moment that I remember even to this day was my encounter with this. And what made this such a creepy and strange moment in my life was that this thing just stared at me and didn't do anything else, and I only saw it once. Which made this MLP moment maybe have some unsettling memories when I was watching it.
The more hate the spirit feels, the colder things become.
Then this is our fault.
It's not surprising that MLP had some incredibly creepy and scary creatures, and I even talked about some of them in my previous videos. But ones that made me not only scared, but full-on paranoid were the Wendigos. And okay, the Wendigos are not exactly creatures, but more like forces of nature, and actually that's why they scared me in the first place. Just the idea of these things being able to freeze the whole world horrified me beyond belief, not only because it would be a very scary fate to live through, but also because the idea of dying frozen in ice sounded incredibly scary for young me. Mix that with how the Wendigos looked and the part that they played in the episode A Heartwarming Tale, and that was enough to make me fear them more than any other creature in the show, and it didn't help that I was actually scared of natural disasters when I was a kid.
What is sticking? Keep it together. If I can't find a friendship problem, I'll make a friendship problem!
Lesson series, an episode that took a normal and mundane plot like Twilight is late to send a friendship report to Princess Celestia and turned it into an episode that had a lot of unsettling and creepy moments, mainly thanks to Twilight. And what made it so scary, especially for me, was to see Twilight, a character that at the time was bubbly, caring, and innocent, slowly descending into insanity. And to choose a specific scene, it's very hard, because I could say the scene where Twilight is talking to herself in the park, or the scene where Twilight is hallucinating the Phillies laughing at her, or the scene with Twilight in the bush. And while all of these were scary on their own way, the one scene that hands down scared me the most was this one.
Hi, girls! Oh, hi, Twilight. How's it going? Great. Just great. You three look like you're doing great, too! Looks like three good friends who obviously don't need the help of another good friend!
I remember this scene making me extremely anxious, and I can't put my finger on exactly why. But if I had to guess, maybe it had to do with how Twilight acted. And it didn't help that I identified so much with the Crusaders when I was a kid, which made this moment a little bit more unsettling for me. And don't get me started on the Japanese dub of this episode, because it was, if not more scary than the English dub. And this was mainly thanks to the performance of Sawashiro Mizuki, with her having a very unsettling voice mixed with her bubbly and innocent Twilight voice.
Well, tell you what it ain't. It ain't no apple.
Nope. What?
And we don't have room for non-apples.
If there was an episode that was creepy all the way through, well, it would be this one, and a lot of the reasons why this episode is so scary comes from the main theme of the episode. This episode tackles the theme of family expectations and what happens when those expectations don't match your family's. Something that, just like Apple Bloom, I had to deal with when I was very young. And the theme wasn't the only thing scary about this episode, because we also have the dreams that Apple Bloom had, with her dreams getting more and more erratic and bizarre the more the episode goes on, which leads me to the moment that scared me.
And I helped. You didn't want to lose friends, and I helped. If there's a problem with your family, I'm sure I can help with that too.
This scene gave me nightmares, and while this scene in and of itself is creepy, what I feel that made this scene so effective was how well it was built up. First starting as only a voice to then seeing it in the background, making you second guess if you actually saw something move or not, and finally to the reveal of the shadow itself with its bright orange eyes and that haunting voice. And guess what, this moment got even more scary with other dubs, specifically the Korean and the Japanese dub.
난 마법을 쓰지 않았어. 너한테도 그 누구한테도. 난 네가 원하는 대로 한 거야.
난 악몽을 꾸고 싶다고 말한 적 없다고요!
虫が嫌だって言うから助けてやった。友達を失いたくないって言うから助けてやった。家族と問題があるならまた助けてやる。
But now for the moment that scared me the most, and one that I couldn't stand for the longest time. This one is...
Oh, they're not so bad.
I hated this episode so much when I was a kid, but it had nothing to do with the story or the characters, but rather because of the single scene. And the first time that I saw this scene, I remember hiding under my blankets because of how scared I was. And a lot of the reasons why this scene was so scary was how out of place this scene feels. Because I don't think anyone expected at the time for Pinkie Pie to hallucinate having a party with a bunch of inanimate objects. And that's without mentioning the mannerisms that Pinkie Pie had, like random twitches and the way that her eyes go in separate directions made you feel uneasy. And what I feel that tied everything together was the extremely unsettling and unnerving music that played in this scene.
Could I have some more punch?
Well, of course you can have some more punch, Mr. Turnip.
This is one great party! You really outdone yourself!
Why, thank you, Rocky.
With this making me skip this episode every time that it came on, until I saw the Japanese dub, which surprisingly opted to make this scene less scary and make it more funny and lighthearted.
悪くないって？冗談だろ。奴らは不良じゃないか。
え待って、不良はちょっと言い過ぎだと思うんだけどな。
あなたはひどいことをされたのよ。不良って言ったって誰も文句言わないわ。
まあ確かに失礼だけど。
Which actually was very nice, so thank you for that. But hey, this is all my opinion, so what are some of your guys' scary MLP moments? Like, comment and subscribe, and remember to have a safe and fun Halloween. And even if you don't celebrate Halloween, have a great day or night, and I'll see you in the next video.